on the NewsChannel 5 network. This is Open Line.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Carrie Sharp. Thank you for joining us for Open Line tonight. We are coming into you today after a very tough weekend here in Nashville. A very tough weekend where we saw a peaceful protest turn into a riot. And now we're under a curfew again tonight at 10 o'clock. I think everybody kind of just on edge, wondering what happens next. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight on Open Line. I have two wonderful guests to have these tough conversations with us. Let me introduce them to you. First, we have Robert Serrill, who is joining us, and also Odessa Kelly. You've seen both of them here on Open Line before. Thank you both for joining us once again.
No problem. Glad to be here.
Good. I'm so glad you're here. I really am. And I'm looking forward to the conversation that we can have over the next hour. But I do want to tell our viewers, this is Open Line. This is your chance to call in, be part of the conversation. But I am going to tell you, there is no place for racism on this show. None. And I'm emotional about it because I'm afraid that it will come. Talking to my producer, he said, I'm afraid too. We're just not going to tolerate that, and we're not going to tolerate it from here on out. So if you are calling with that intention, just don't. Just turn the channel, and that's fine. So let's get started. Robert and Odessa. Again, thank you. Odessa, I want you to tell people who you are, what you do in this community. Take it away.
Okay, well, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Odessa Kelly. I am the executive director for Stand Up Nashville. I am a Nashville native. I was born and raised here. I'm from out east. That's what we call East Nashville. Back in the day, went to public high schools, went to Stratford. From Stratford, went to Tennessee State University. Proud athlete, played basketball and ran track there. From there, took a job, worked for Metro Parks and Recreation. I worked there for 14 years before I recently became the executive director for Stand Up Nashville. Yeah.
That's you. That's what you do. And I know you were a part of the rally on Saturday, and we're going to get to that in just a moment. But Robert, tell folks about you.
Thank you for having me.
Sure.
My name is Robert Serrill. Born and raised in Nashville from out north. You know what I'm saying? 37208 representing. I'm a community leader. I'm the CEO of Imperial Cleaning Systems. I'm an author, and I run a nonprofit. I'm all things Nashville, all things community. And I spend my days and time and resources just giving back to the public of our people. And that's basically who I am and what I do. I'm a returning citizen. Did 5 years in federal prison, so I understand what it is to be dealing with a system that is against you. So thank you for having me.
You both were at the peaceful protest on Saturday, started at 3 o'clock, wrapped up about 5 o'clock. First of all, just tell me about that rally. What was it like, Odessa?
There's a lot of emotions about the rally. I heard Mayor Cooper say earlier that it was, the rally was for healing. And, I'll politely push back against that. I think the rally was for a lot of things. I'm tired of people trying to define it because I think it can mean something different, for everyone, because everyone has mixed emotions about it. The rally for me was a place where I could just be in solidarity with people who are just outraged and tired of seeing these things happen over and over again. I don't think it was a place of healing for me. It really was just to try to, in a public way, express my exhaustion around this. We're at a point where I don't know what to do. It's not like this is a new story. We knew that the rally was going to come. It is a shame that it has become a part of our society. Unarmed Black men get shot, we have a rally, and we keep having to have these things over and over and over again. And I think I may have just been looking for answers, to be in solidarity, to show my frustration and outrage like anyone else.
And Robert, tell me about your perspective from the rally on Saturday.
I'm exhausted. I mean, how many times we gonna rally? Kill a Black person, throw a rally. 2-3 days, we move on to the next murder. that's happening right before our eyes. You got to understand, like, these are not murders that you hear about. You actually see them. You see a man take his last breath. And I don't understand how any human could not understand the frustration of the Black community and us wanting justice and wanting a system that serves everyone. I don't understand why people email and tweet and call us thugs and savages and things of that nature. And it's frustrating because here we are thinking that we are citizens of the United States and we have equal rights, but we're seeing them forfeited and trampled over day after day, situation after situation. And so I went down there just to be there for my people. You know, I was down there to support in any way I can, and I knew as a community leader I had to be there so my people, my community could see me there standing with them. And it was peaceful. It was people from all walks of life. You had white, Black, brown, male, female. Everybody was there, standing in solidarity. You know, outraged by what's going on in today's society. And I got there at 3. It was peaceful. It was peaceful all the way to a little after 5. And then it was like an hour of nothing. I rode through Commerce, I rode through Broadway, and then boom, out of nowhere, you had a group of people who vandalized the city. But the initial rally was peaceful.
Were you surprised that it took that turn, or did you expect it?
I wasn't surprised because what do you expect? We tired. I'm a Black man. I'm 37 and I got a fear riding in the car, walking down the street because I'm considered less than a human because I committed a crime over decades ago. They ain't gonna do nothing. If they killed me tomorrow, instead of showing all the amazing things that I've done with my life since being released from prison, they're gonna show a mug shot of me. And they're gonna villainize me as this thug and somebody who wanted to hurt people. And then the people who killed me could very well get off. That is a scary reality to wake up to every day as a Black male. So I really didn't, I mean, people may, look, I love God, but I'm gonna tell you something. I really didn't I didn't feel no type of way. I really didn't. I was like, what did y'all expect? Mm-hmm. I'm just being honest.
I appreciate that, I really do. Odessa, were you surprised at all?
No, I'm not. It seems like, you know, injustice is part of the law now. Like, this is okay for it to happen. So when that happens, it's almost the duty of the people to show resistance. And you can't control how people show resistance to that, you know, as to what Robert just talked about. I mean, in the 60s, people were outraged at what was happening to them and they were vandalizing stuff too. Do we call them criminals or do we call them heroes today? So, I mean, you know, it's like, is anyone asking people to incite violence? No, that's not happening. But at the same time, violent things are happening to us. And also too, I think we need to clarify, I think it's offensive for us the destruction of property is not violence. And I take offense to that when the reason why people are out there in the first place is because violence happened to George Floyd. Violence happened to Breonna Taylor. Violence happened to Jacquees Clemens. Violence happened to Daniel Hambert. Those are people who've experienced violence, and it's happened over and over and over again, right? So for us to, like, this is not a time to be mincing words because people are getting nervous about their property. You know, I take offense that they said the National Guard was called out to protect people. Protect who? I didn't see the National Guard in any of these places that they've been called out to trying to protect people. I saw them trying to protect property. And you can always replace property. You cannot replace life. And that is where the outrage comes from. You know, if you constantly feel as though that your life is threatened, you are going to defend yourself and you are going to behave and speak out in a manner in any way that you feel deemed necessary to get people's attention. And that is what's happening.
how do you or can you be outraged by the violence that we are seeing against people and also not want to see, think it's not worth it, the vandalism, the looting, the destruction of property? Can you be outraged by both right now?
I haven't vandalized anything, and I'm not, and you know, I'm not destructing property. What I'm saying, like you just said, you said, am I surprised that it happened? I am not surprised that it happened. What I'm saying is if they want all of these things to stop, then fix what the real problem is. And the problem is that the system of policing is broken. It is something truly wrong with it, right? The fact that another unarmed black man got killed and it happened again, right? We say we want to restore peace and order. Things go back to normal, and then it happens again. What's that definition say? Keep doing the same thing, expecting different results is insanity. Well, for us to keep having protest or to speak out in the same manner that we have, and then to expect something different happen is insanity. So what is the solution right now? I feel as though right now our leadership is failing us, right? There's clergy that's failing us. Everyone is failing in a situation because we are not speaking out in the levers that we do have control over to push, right?
Do you feel like this vandalism and destruction of property is negating the message, though, and is really serving as a distraction from the message?
I think it could possibly do that, but at the end of the day, you got to expect this outcome. I mean, when you're killing people on national TV, this has never been done before. My kids have asking me, Daddy, is he dead? Is he dead? Like, what am I gonna tell my children?
Yeah.
They see people that look like them getting murdered in front of their eyes, and then there's no justice. So now when black folks get out, finally, destroy some shit, now everybody wanna, oh my God, that's taken away from the message. It very well may be, but at the end of the day, we are demanding an outcome that's for us this time. This time is different. People tired. I'm sick and tired.
Do you think go ahead, Odessa.
I just think I think it's a scapegoat. And the reason why I say, like, even asking that question is because I never heard anyone, you know, Open Line, Channel 5, Channel 4, NPR, anyone ask the same questions when they riot after they win the Super Bowl, right? After NBA championship, and they have torn cities apart, right? We just happily look at it as though, look at all these people showing pride for their city, right?
Right.
Someone lost their life, right? And so I can't help it that it's, for some people, the way that they show rage and outrage is through vandalism. That's not the way that I would show it, right? All I'm saying is that instead of us spending all of this time talking about people vandalizing, can we talk about the reason why? You know, I think Delkey is coming up on his court case in a couple of weeks, right? So that'll be a good opportunity for us to see, how do you really feel about Black lives? Do you really see us as human? Do our lives really matter? He shot that man point blank in the back because he couldn't beat him in a foot race. Let's just be honest about what happened, right? Is he about to get off? I mean, those are the type of things. We just saw this man get a third degree murder charge, which is basically manslaughter, right? So
think about that. we are so because we're so used to not getting nothing as a race. We're so satisfied with the smallest of things. Whether it be the $1,200 stimulus, whether it be third degree murder charge. Do you know what they carry? No first degree, no second degree, third degree, he could get probation. He could do 1129 and get released on probation because he's an ex-cop. And so they're gonna show him favor. We've seen it time and time and time again. So I'm saying third degree, that's nothing. He murdered the man and everybody saw it. And this is the first time I can agree that you have solidarity from both ends. This is not a political issue. This is a community issue. This is a national issue. Black people need equity. That's all we want.
And I want to explain Odessa and also, Robert, I ask these questions about the vandalism and the lost message because that's where it seems people are stuck on this very day. And I think that hearing your reaction to it, your guidance on it is worthwhile so that we can move past it. Or we're just going to stay stuck here and it's not going to be worth anything. So
I think that's the way to vilify us, though. That's why they want to stay stuck. Oh, they're destroying things because then there you go, got another white person just scared of a black man in a hoodie. And that gives the police and people more reason to harass and lock us up and continue to send us to prison and collect that money out of us.
Yeah. So let's talk about the answers. I was reading an article, and I'm pretty sure, Odessa, you were quoted, I'm going to do it loosely here, saying there's been a lot of listening, and I say that with air quotes. It's time for action. It is time for change. So what changes will actually make a difference at this point here in Nashville? I want to talk very focused here.
Okay, real quickly, I'm getting a lot of people texting saying that there's no sound, so just wanted to let you know that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm glad that you asked that question, right? Because so what George Floyd stands for is a metaphor for all the things that are going on. I'm gonna tell you right here in Nashville, right? Black people have been pushed out of this city, right? Downtown has been redeveloped, and there's nothing downtown for Black people or people of color or people who do not like country music, right? So the equity in this city is insane, right? The banking is out of control. These are the type of inequities that we're talking about. Black people are 28% of Nashville, yet we're 77% of the school system. Yet there's an issue with funding. Seems racial to me, right? How is it that we 28% of Nashville, I think 17% of the country, but we are most impacted by COVID? Everything has an adverse effect against African Americans, every single thing. So if we want to start changing this, then we can start by changing the policies that we can help. We got $121 million sitting somewhere around this city in the bank, right? That is money that can directly go help the people who need it the most. Yet the mayor puts together some secret group of people. Look at the people who's sitting on there. You got AT&T, you got Amazon. The only group on that list that I trust is the Equity Alliance. Outside of that, the rest of these people are brought together to tell the people what they want. I've seen them out there marching with us this weekend. None of them. And yet every single one of those companies have issues. They have their own racial issues that they need to deal with. Yet they're supposed to understand the plight of the people, of working class people, the working poor. And when I say the working poor in this city, if you're a teacher, you're the working poor.
Yeah.
In this city. So, I mean, those are the inequities that we need to start to fix. Just because a person doesn't have a degree in this city, you got plenty of people that's working 2 or 3 full-time jobs that are trying to make ends meet. And then on their way home, if you Black, there's a chance that you might get pulled over and never get to your house. And yet people act like it's not out there. I've had people tell me, I didn't realize this thing was going on. What a privilege. Because I don't have that right. There was people posting this weekend about how good their weekend was. I couldn't consciously and morally make that choice because of the color of my skin. I have a duty and a responsibility to show up for people like me, people who look like me, people who have less than me, to talk about these atrocities that keep happening. I'll go ahead, Robert. I'll go all day. I'll let you talk, Robert.
Now go ahead. You going it?
I mean, there are several things that we can do right now that we're talking about. We're asking. I mean, schools need to be funded. That's one of the things that comes. It irritates me that people have a very succinct 10-point plan on how to fix the violent protests that are going on, right? Very easy, very poignant, have well-trained thoughts on what to do about that. But I ask you how to fix inequity in this city, and it's like, it's a long, slow road.
Yes.
You see how offensive that looks to me as an African-American? I just don't understand, like, if we can put urgency toward what we're talking about now, which is the vandalism and all those things going on, then why can't we put urgency toward bringing some equity in this city?
Robert, tell me what you see as viable change that needs to happen starting now in Nashville.
As a person, as a returning citizen, again, it's a double sword with me. I'm Black and I'm a felon. It's a lose-lose, right? And so right now, I mean, we need criminal justice reform for anything in my eyes. I mean, I'm a little biased, forgive me. But because like recently, I've been paying taxes for 6 years. I paid well over $40,000 to $50,000 a year to the federal government. All right. I operated successful businesses. All right. And for doing that, my felony doesn't bother me when it's time to pay taxes. But when I need to tap into those funds, they bring up the felony question. And they denied me. So they say, hey, we'll take your money while you making money. But if a disaster happened and you need to tap into this money to save your business, we don't deem you necessary. We don't deem you necessary enough to do that. That is an inequity. And not only criminal justice, housing. What are we gonna do? This city is growing beyond measure. But yet you got people returning to our communities with nowhere to live. And you wonder why we got tent city and people running around downtown all night, sleeping on the steps of buildings. It ain't that they want to, they don't have any choice. They don't have a platform to not only be heard, but there's no laws or policies that are enacted or passing that will help these people. People like me, I can't even go get an apartment downtown. Those beautiful apartments, I make enough money, I'm 6 figures a year, 805 credit score. But they denied me a 1-bedroom townhouse downtown. Housing needs to be dealt with. The wealth gap. You got all this money pouring into Nashville, but we still having a budget shortfall. I don't understand it. It's so many things that need to be dealt with, but no one is doing anything about it. And so the one thing that I, as a part of the Equity Alliance, tonight, we have to take the same energy that we've had these last couple of days, and we need to show up at the polls. Because that's why, from the start of emancipation, they've been trying to keep us and our right to vote away from us. Because the true power lies in the vote. Because then we can vote in people in office that will represent us and that look like us. And so that's where we need to start. We got to vote, people.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We got to get a commercial in here. We're going to come back with more of this conversation. Stay with us.